How's it going, everyone, and welcome to a breakdown of the 1980 horror classic Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is pretty iconic for its summer camp setting and its titular villain, Jason Voorhees. However, Jason only appears as a little kid in this film and doesn't actually become a big grown killer until the sequels. With that being said, I personally find this film pretty mediocre and boring, especially by today's standards. However, it still has a certain charm with the summer vibe and everything, and the great effects by Tom Savini. With all that said, let's get into the film and let's break it down. The film begins in the year 1958 at the soon-to-be cursed place, Camp Crystal Lake. A bunch of camp counselors are sitting around a fireplace singing Bible music when two begin to give each other lovey-dovey eyes. The two counselors leave and decide to get their groove on. They're interrupted by someone who's only shown by first person. She walks up and stabs the boy, killing him, and then makes the girl freeze to death? What the fuck was that? Anyways, she's dead. We jump to present time 1980 on Friday, June 13th. We're introduced to Annie, who's going to be a cook at Camp Crystal Lake and is looking for a ride. She finds someone to give her a ride, and then is harassed by this man right here, Crazy Ralph.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't you?
God damn it, Ralph, get out of here. Go on, get. Leave people alone.
You'll never come back again.
Oh, shut up, Ralph.
We cut to a few members of our main cast of teenagers who are on their way to Camp Crystal Lake to get murdered. The three teens in the truck driving are Ned, the one on the far right, Jack, and Marcy. Jack is played by a young Kevin Bacon in his first role. Their introduction is accompanied with this weird hillbilly music. That's seriously in the film. The three arrive to Camp Crystal Lake and meet the new owner, Steve Christie. We're introduced to the other counselors at the park, including Brenda and Bill. We're also introduced to Alice. Steve Christie needs to go get some supplies, so he leaves the counselors there to work on the camp and get it ready for summer. We meet back up with Annie, who got dropped off by the truck driver and is hitchhiking to get the rest of the way to Camp Crystal Lake. An unknown person picks her up and gives her a ride. She realizes pretty quick after they pass the road to Camp Crystal Lake that this is a bad situation. She eats herself out of the vehicle and runs into the woods, trying to get away from the assailant. She's eventually chased down and gets her throat slit by the unknown killer. We go back to the counselors messing around and having fun, doing things like swimming in the lake, as well as killing a real snake. Yeah, they really killed that snake. That's not fake at all. They straight up murdered an animal. Ned also decides to do this.
Oh shit.
A little bit after this, Ned is walking alone and sees someone mysteriously go into one of the cabins. He decides to go check it out. We'll catch up with him later. Marcy and Jack are talking when they notice that there's going to be a storm coming, and then Jack says the weirdest thing ever.
It's gonna storm. You can tear down that valley like a son of a gun.
The two then decide to go into one of the cabins and play some patty cake. During their fun, they don't even notice that Ned is dead, right on the bunk on top of them. After the two are done having sex, Marcy decides to go to the shower room to freshen up, leaving Jack alone to smoke a joint. Jack notices some blood dripping onto his forehead. That's kind of strange. Oh shit! He gets an arrow straight through the throat. After killing Jack, the killer gets to the shower room just in time to get Marcy in the face with an axe. We check in with Alice, Brenda, and Bill to see what they're doing to pass the time during the storm, and they're playing Strip Monopoly. That sounds very boring. Brenda gets all tired out from their fun game of Strip Monopoly and goes to brush her teeth and get ready for bed. While in bed, she hears someone say, "Help me," and decides to go check it out. She goes out in the pouring rain in her nightgown, and surprisingly doesn't find anyone. Until she does. The mysterious person turns on the lights at the archery range and kills Brenda off screen? How boring. Bill and Alice are together and they get worried about where everyone else is. The two decide to investigate on their own and go to check Brenda's cabin. They check Brenda's bed and find an axe that has blood on it, tucked in all nice and sweet. That's kind of weird. Back with Steve, while out looking for supplies, he stops at a diner to wait for the storm to go away. He decides he can't wait any longer and doesn't want to leave the counselors there alone, and decides just to go out in the storm and get back to the camp regardless. When he gets to the camp, some rude person decides to shine a flashlight right in his face. He seems to recognize the person and then gets punched right in the stomach. Just kidding, he gets stabbed. He's dead. Later, the power goes out at the camp and Bill decides to leave Alice to go check out the generator on his own. Yeah, let's split up. It's not like we just found an axe with blood all over it or anything. Alice goes to the generator room alone to find Bill when he doesn't return, and all she finds is his rain jacket. Well, until she finds his body. This freaks her out and she begins to run back to the cabin. This is where the obligatory slasher final circuit starts. She gets back to the cabin and tries to fortify it so no one can get in. She decides to take a breather next to the fridge when all of a sudden, boom! Brenda comes flying through the window. Alice sees car headlights through the window and, probably assuming it's Christy, runs out to try to get help. Instead of Christy, she's greeted by some woman. The woman claims to know Christy and they hug, going back into the cabin. The woman reveals herself to be Mrs. Voorhees, or Pamela Voorhees, and randomly starts talking about her son, Jason, who drowned in Camp Crystal Lake. She starts to blame Alice and says if it wasn't for the counselors having sex at the time, Jason wouldn't have drowned. At this point, it's revealed that Mrs. Voorhees was the killer all along, and she goes full psycho, pulling out her knife and attacking Alice. Alice gets away and a chase ensues between the two. After some words of encouragement from her son, Pamela chases after her.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her. Don't let her get away, Mommy. Don't let her live.
I won't, Jason. I won't.
They end up in a different part of the camp, where Mrs. Voorhees just slaps the shit out of Alice. It's actually kind of hilarious. Alice gets away and decides to, I guess, just take a break on the shore of the lake. That doesn't last too long as Ms. Voorhees is right behind her and attacks her with a machete. Alice gets the upper hand in the fight and somehow gets the machete and straight up decapitates Ms. Voorhees. I guess after all this nonsense, Alice just decides to get in a canoe and just go to the middle of the lake. It's kind of weird. I don't know. It's finally daytime and Alice sees the police show up and everything seems good. Everything is safe. But if you've seen Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, then you know what's about to happen. That's right, Zombie Jason comes out for the final scare. Alice wakes up in the hospital finding out from the cop that all her friends are dead. She asks about the boy and the cop, very confused, doesn't know about any boy, making Alice come to the realization that he's still out there, which we all know he is. Well, that was the original Friday the 13th from 1980. Overall, an okay film that started a long-running franchise. Compared to the other films in the franchise, this one is pretty tame. I do recommend this to anyone who is a fan of the Friday the 13th series and do recommend you at least watch it once. I do have to warn, it is a bit of a slow burn and it is kind of boring. However, the series will eventually ramp up, especially with the introduction of a grown Jason Voorhees doing all the killings. Luckily, you don't have to wait too long for that since he's in the next Friday the 13th, which I will be covering next Friday. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe. If you did like this video, please give it a like. And I will see you next time.